Well, again, everyone, it's me, Nick Michalak, and the stellar Steve Fraser.
Well, hello again, everybody.
And now we're bringing you a commentary for Needful Things, the Stephen King adaptation we're doing from the Kino Lorber 4K release with his theatrical cut. We'll talk about the TV cut a little bit here and there, but we're watching the actual theatrical version of the film.
Well, the difference was 45 minutes,
Yes.
So we thought maybe the shorter one.
Right, and this is the more widely available version, and
Right.
so on and so forth. And we'll get into talking about things. So if you have your own copy of this version of the film, there is a 10-second Kino Lorber ident at the beginning of the whole thing. You want to get beyond that if you have this edition. So you want to hit off the original 2-hour time stamp on the 2-hour timeline, the whole thing, get it off to 0. Get your subtitles turned on, and we'll sync up with a countdown. So in 3, 2, 1, play.
All right, yet another one for our Stephen King adaptation playlist.
Yes. It's not Annette Bening.
I know, I think of that every time I think Annette Bening.
Castle Rock Entertainment. For a film that's actually
I was going to
set
say
in
this.
Castle Rock.
I think this is the first one, the first Castle Rock. Well, now I'm wondering because I don't remember if Stand by Me was a Castle Rock.
Well, Misery we did. Which
Yeah,
was
but
Castle
Misery was set in Castle Rock.
Well,
though?
I'm saying Castle
No.
Rock Entertainment.
No,
but
I'm
if you're talking
saying
about Castle Rock setting.
Right. The only other one that could have been, I think, is Stand by Me. But now I don't remember. All right, Max von Sydow. Bonnie Bedelia is the aunt of the Culkins.
Yes. Shoot. No. It's Catherine O'Hara was at Macaulay's Walk of Fame or how
Right.
recently.
Yep.
She still looks delightful.
Yes. Agreed. Now this looks like New England.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where they filmed this, but this looks like
British
Oregon.
Columbia.
This
Canada.
looks like British Columbia right here.
Did you have notes for this one?
I don't have notes for this one.
So I make sure you didn't.
Well, you know what?
Your sheet.
Actually, I should take that back. I didn't bring notes with me, but I took a bunch of notes. We covered this on my podcast.
Yes, I know that. I listened to a bit of it. I didn't want to get too much into it and get too many repeating thoughts from it.
All right, well, listen to it afterward.
Yes.
Now that everyone's watched this, listen. We did a whole series. We covered 3 Stephen King adaptations. And this was the one that I brought to the table because somebody had never seen it. Randy, I think, had never seen it before.
Okay.
Look at this car.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
What?
Yeah, this came out in 93.
Yeah.
So
Novel came out in 91. Jeez.
yeah, it was a real
fast track.
It was a real quick turnaround.
Because they had an interview from the screenwriter W.D. Richter, also wrote Body Snatchers remake and Big Trouble in Little China.
Okay.
And he said they were actually prepping to shoot this thing in the summer of 91.
Wow.
But these got pushed back when he's like, okay, they're bringing him on originally to just do a rewrite, but he's like, I gotta go do this thing from scratch. I can't just go in and do this because I don't know the source material. I don't know really what the angle to go at this thing from, so we just start over, and it got pushed back. It's got released in August of 93. At the end of it. I made about $15 million. It didn't say what budget it had, so I don't know how much it kind of eked out in terms of profit.
Beautiful Rottweiler.
Yeah. I'm watching a lot of Ed Harris lately. Makes me want to watch Apollo 13 again.
Ooh, I haven't seen that in a hot minute.
I haven't seen it since the theater, but damn, Ed Harris is a phenomenally good actor.
He always kind of plays Ed Harris, though, is the problem.
Yeah, maybe a little bit there.
This is a crossover character from The Dark Half.
Yes. Who in that film is portrayed by Michael Rooker.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
cheers.
It came out the same year, I think it was, the film adaptation.
I haven't seen that in forever.
Here and there, and they mentioned it. And she looks great.
It's funny because I'm like, we just covered this on my podcast like a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like this weird deja vu where I'm like saying the same things over again.
Sure. But there's a particular, in terms of the TV cut, we already missed a whole bunch of stuff because the opening of the TV cut, it has Ed Harris and his deputy or whatnot on the side of the road, kind of jump-starting one of their trucks, and there's an entire chase sequence with Gaughan's car there.
Oh, really?
The black Mercedes. And it's an actual subplot that goes through the whole thing, trying to figure out who this Mercedes belonged to. You almost never see it again until the end of the film. And so there's a big stunt chase and all that type of stuff, and the thing flips over and blows up, and you just barely see Gaunt through the smoke and the haze and everything like that, but it still leaves a mystery of the whole thing. And there's certain points that it kind of comes back through, trying to figure out where this thing came from, who it is.
Right. I'm glad they cut that.
So it's almost weird at the end of the film when the thing's just parked on the side of the road and it just materializes out of nowhere. When it blew up early in the film.
Right, right.
And the theatrical cut is like it's just not even a thing. So there are a few things like I only watched the full film like once, like maybe, I don't know, 2 years ago, where the hell it was when I got the first Blu-ray. It's like I don't remember this sequence being in the theatrical cut. There's some other things I picked up on, like, that's not in the other version, is it? No, it's not.
Is there a resource where, like a website or something, where people can go and look at what the differences are?
Most likely, I'll check it right now. Usually, it's movie-censorship.com. They've got most of these things documented, but not everything.
All right, well, while you're doing that, I'm going to complain about the fact, like I did on my podcast, about how this is not a small-town store. They used a goddamn funeral home or something.
Yeah.
Like, what is this Victorian bed and breakfast that is supposed to double as an antique store?
Sure.
Why would they pick this place?
Yeah. But yes, they do have a section on it comparing the two different versions.
Okay. And what was that website again?
Movie-censorship.com.
Okay.
They have all... Because the TV cut also got released on the German Blu-ray.
I remember that, and there was a lot of debate about whether it'd be included here.
Yeah.
So here we've got some weird little Easter eggs.
Sure.
Like the croquet in the corner is I guess an homage to The Shining, even though...
in the book it's one thing, in the film it's different.
Right, yes. There is not a more perfect Leland Gaunt
Oh, yeah.
than Max von Sydow.
I mean, he gets it so much. I mean, in terms of performances, the film is carried between him and Ed Harris so much in my regard.
I would agree with that. Now, this is one of those books that was 800 pages.
Okay, yeah, it feels like it.
There is a sea of subplots and subcharacters that are excluded from this movie.
Right.
And one of the things that I made note of on the podcast is twice in my life I have read the novel.
Okay.
And twice in my life, immediately following the novel, I watched the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, it creates, like, you notice every difference.
Yeah.
Okay? So, Air Jordans. I love that he says Air Jordans. Those shoes
are the real deal.
And those shoes, like in 1993, Air Jordans had been out for, 6, 7, 8 years at that point. And they were already the most coveted shoe.
Yeah.
And now 30 more years later, guess what? Still the most coveted shoe.
Yeah.
I heard something ridiculous that Michael Jordan, makes about $250 million, over like $200 million a year, just from Nike.
Sure, of course, why not?
Because of his deal that he gets a piece of every shoe.
Yeah.
In
Crazy.
perpetuity.
Yes. Insane.
Anyway, I digress. So, when I watched this movie for my podcast back in September, October, it was the first time that I hadn't read the book immediately beforehand. And doing so makes you just appreciate it as a movie. And I liked it way more than I did every time before because I didn't have the recency bias.
Yes.
I don't really buy that these two are a couple.
No?
I don't.
Okay.
I do love Polly, though. I forget what the card was, but in the book it's a different player.
Okay.
And I was always wondering why they changed it. Like, it was also like a Yankee.
Okay.
Like, why would you change it? Is Mickey Mantle a more well-known name, I guess?
Depends on what the other name was, yeah.
And two things about this always struck me as weird. One, as a collector of things, including autographs, things that are personalized have less value.
Yeah.
So, having it signed to him means that I wouldn't want it, almost.
Right,
you know?
it's always weird.
Also, what they don't show is kind of his ability to Gaunt.
Yeah.
Like, there's more of a sense in the novel that he is presenting junk as a treasure.
Okay.
Like, you might see this as just a pencil, but then he picks it up and all of a sudden it's the baseball card that you...
Yeah.
Like, there's more of a mysticism or a supernatural about it.
Okay.
Yes, he was able to manifest the thing that you want.
Yeah.
But it seems... It feels more sinister.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay.
That he would turn an everyday object into what you want as opposed to just having what you want.
I can see that.
Like, there's more of a deliberate, you know what I mean? Like,
deception of sorts.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it makes him more of a heel.
Yeah.
Now we're getting somewhere. There have probably been countless movies, or stories, I should say, in life that are the you do me a favor, and that favor is actually, do something over here.
Deal with the devil up.
Right,
to be more blatant about it all.
But what I love about this one in particular, which is not an original, but what I do love, is that it's always a domino effect of chaos.
Yes.
I love this.
Yeah.
Then he's got the list of names.
Yeah.
So it isn't that
And then
the fingernails, Jesus
the
Christ.
fingernail bit, and then the teeth are subtly in there when he's just a little bit more pure in his form.
And the fact that he writes Castle Rock at the top.
Yes.
Tells you that all those other pages were somewhere else.
Yes.
God, that's good. So the prank or the favor isn't with him, it's with a third party, which then that third party blames a fourth party, and then the domino effect, the snowball from there.
Yes.
That is what makes this story so good.
Yeah.
And in the novel, there are way more of them.
I'm sure, yeah.
Than are ever depicted here.
Yeah.
But the good ones are depicted in the movie, like the main ones. I would like to counter-offer that Mr. Walsh here, it actually steals the show.
Okay.
And is not... I think he is the epitome of the acting in this movie, more so than Ed Harris.
I mean, watching the TV cut where it's inherent towards that or anything like that, just... I did feel like he's a bit too over the top for me in places.
I buy it, though, as a small town...
Uppity up.
Uppity up, yep. He thinks he's above the law.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that if my last name was Keaton, anybody that would refer to me as Buster is an homage to, like, possibly the greatest silent actor of all time.
Sure, yeah.
So why would we take this as a pejorative? You know what I mean?
Sure.
I love him. Like, I think that Ed Harris is great, but I feel like he really only has one lane. And that...
Kinda. I mean, as I saw the theatrical release of The Abyss and everything, it's like, I got really jazzed up to kind of see him again in something else like this. And, yeah, it's got the same energy and vibe, but I was watching, it's kind of a John Saxon energy. A little bit. He's got the manly man, squared shoulder type of thing. He's got a presence. He's got a force on screen. Like, if they had cast Ed Harris as Don Thompson in the remake, I would have been fine with that idea. Glad they didn't do that because he deserved way better than that.
Right.
But...
Well, look at those two.
Mm-hmm.
She is great. This actress. I don't know her name.
Oh. No, when I see it real quick. Valerie Bronfield.
What are you talking about, sir? It's a friggin' mansion. Throw her Baptist ass in the street. I love the stink face by that lady as she walked by. But that dog is adorable. I love Rottweilers. I like that he walked out with the box and then brought it back in. You see what I'm saying? Like, he just happened to have the one that she wanted.
Exactly.
As opposed to...
manifesting
right,
in the moment.
Yes.
I definitely kind of picture the way the book was doing it, just seeing it would be a little bit more sinister, a little bit more subversive, that he's playing almost like a sleight of hand with everyone in that regard.
Right, right. Yeah, I don't know if they... I know you like the audiobooks. I don't know if they have an audiobook for this one, but...
Sure, it's a long old sucker.
But I do recommend it. Like, this is one of the books that I've read, like, you know, one of the long ones that I've read more than once. I love the ones that are, like, that have a town full of characters, and you meet all the characters, you know, and...
It's 25 hours long.
That's awesome.
Narrated by King himself.
Get out of here.
Yeah, huh?
I want to listen to it. Where did you find that?
It's Audible.
Audible, okay.
It's 30% off right now for $20.
$20, okay.
And change.
And now, I don't have Audible, so let's give the people some... educate them. Is it like a monthly subscription kind of thing?
Well, you can buy it outright, or you can do like a $14.99 subscription, and you just get credits every single month to redeem.
Okay, so...
And they roll over every month, so you get like 1 credit per month.
So 1 credit, if you pay a $15 a month fee, you get one $15 book?
You get
or you get any book?
Anything.
Okay.
You can just redeem it for anything.
So somebody...
And if you don't like it, you can return it within a year and get a credit back.
Okay, and they roll over.
Yeah.
So if I don't get one this month, I can get 2 next month.
Right.
And so you're saying that for a $15 subscription, I could get this $20 book.
Yeah.
For $5 off, essentially.
Essentially, yeah.
But I have to pay $15 every month.
Right, but then you own it.
But then I own it.
Once you redeem it, you don't even have to be a subscriber anymore. You just have that in perpetuity.
And I could just cancel my subscription.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, if anybody out there needs Audible, we're not sponsored by Audible. No. We don't have any sort of... I didn't really know how it worked. No. But I do recommend this movie, or this book, rather. So if you're not a reader, Audible sounds like a good deal if you're a reader.
If you have 25 hours to burn.
Some of us have long drives to work, Nick. What a dick this guy is. I mean, he's the devil, so I guess that counts.
Right, sure.
He's allowed. Good scarecrow there. Like, those are shoot turkeys, aren't they? Like, those are real...
Turkey shoot.
Well, yeah, no pun intended. Can you imagine how that would smell?
Ooh, yuck.
Like, for real. If any of our listeners have ever done a road trip down a country road in another farming, like down the highway in Nebraska or something, you'll know what that smells like. They they did a decent job of having him know, like people's names and,
Yeah.
and little tidbits about them.
Mm-hmm.
I remember so distinctly the first time I read this book and picturing this scene of rubbing the shit on the sheets.
Yeah.
You ever put cheese on your pie?
I don't have pie.
Never?
No.
No apple pie?
No.
You've never had an apple pie?
No.
You've never once in your life eaten apple pie?
No. We never made pie around here.
Well, let's just roll the credits and get on with our day. I'll answer my own question. I can't imagine how that's good. I know it's a thing. People put the cheese on the apple pie. I don't get it. I've never tried it, admittedly, so I don't know. It just sounds weird. Exposition, exposition.
Sure.
Exposition. I suppose if he's the devil, he knew all about it all along, right?
Yeah. Probably mentioned the director of the whole thing, who's the Nelson C. Fraser, who's the son of Charlton Heston.
No relation.
Damn, I just said his name wrong.
You messed it up.
Fraser C. Heston. I'm stupid. I don't know what I'm thinking.
I don't either. Yes, Fraser's his first name.
Yes.
And from what I understand, this is the first movie that he ever made that didn't have his dad in it.
Yeah.
And so then helps us speculate a little bit on what it would have been like had Charlton Heston played Leland Gaunt.
Intriguing.
Which, don't get me wrong, I believe in my heart that that's what he wanted.
Probably. I don't doubt it. Moses playing the devil now.
The irony.
Oddly enough, apparently, Von Sydow actually played Jesus in some film. I don't remember what the hell the name was, but he played Jesus, and freaking Fraser Heston had played baby Moses in the Ten Commandments for his father.
Really?
Apparently, that's what the trivia says. So someone apparently off the side of the production was saying, like, you don't see that every day. Moses telling Jesus how to play the devil.
Right.
He's great. Morgan Shepherd, he's great. I kind of entertained by this Catholic versus Baptist freaking war. The two actors played it very nicely. I think it's got King stamped all over it. His little kitschy out of the corner of his mouth, sort of grim as he's typing this stuff up.
Yes.
Especially this dialogue, you know. I will say this 4K looks way superior to the old Blu-ray.
Oh my God,
that
yes.
transfer was really rough.
They really sharpened it up. He's walking with that axe, or the hatchet. Why would you wipe your mouth on it, you stupid bitch?
Yeah. With the TV cut they put on this whole thing, they did some kind of post-processing stuff. Like, it seems like they did some like AI upscaling things that kind of create some weird anomalies in the picture quality. So there's some points where like frames are blending between one another, or faces are getting smeared. It's a little weird what they did with it.
That's weird.
Because they decided to upscale to 1080p to make the most of the bit rate and everything, but it kind of made things look a little funky here and there. Sometimes the de-interlacing from the broadcast master is not great. Probably the German one was more just like a direct port. We just direct grabbed the master, put it on like a DVD, and that was it. We didn't fuck around with anything.
Right.
So some people prefer that release of it because it's just a more consistent quality.
I love that she didn't even like clean herself before she made the phone call.
Not even trying. Oh, we got Billy Ray Cyrus on the soundtrack.
Yes.
Early 90s mullet master.
Absolutely. Dude, maybe you're not aware. This song was,
oh, yeah. It was
a phenomenon.
Oof, my God. One in every town.
Oh, I bet that was a...
Yeah.
I don't think that was supposed to happen.
Unintentional,
Yeah.
but it works for the scene. Eagle belt buckle he's got going on.
Yeah, he's all class. The conspiracy theory, the paranoia.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's one of the greatest actors. And obviously left us way too soon.
Sure, yeah. Only about 5 years after this came out.
And I don't remember how he died. I think it was some kind of cancer.
Hmm.
I'm going to look him up.
Sure.
Which I also did on my podcast.
No.
Yeah, he died in February of 1988.
98.
98. He was 54 years old. He had a heart attack.
Okay.
God. 54.
Ugh.
That, like, everyone deserves to live past 54.
Yeah.
I do feel like it's a little... The first half of this movie's a little rushed. And then, like, they're trying really hard to give you all of these characters really fast.
Yeah. And
then...
it's kind of the inverse on the TV cut because it feels like it's a little... If you already watched the film and know where it's going, it's fine. But when you're trying to watch it for the first time, I'm sure it's like... It's not quite getting to the point of everything. It's kind of set up, and you don't really see like a structure of where the thing is leading to or anything like that.
Well, I believe we all agreed when we gave our opinions on it that the end felt rushed. Like they spent all the setup time and then just boom, it's over at the end.
Yeah.
Which maybe would have been exacerbated by the longer cut. You know?
It just...
Like it makes the fast ending feel more fast.
I mean, they consult Heston on the TV cut, but he wouldn't consider a director's cut. They said, "Well, we want to do an extended cut for TBS." I said, "Okay, I'll come in and supervise adding things in, so it's not like a master or something like that." But it's not the version that he would say is like, yeah, that's my final cut or anything. But it does kind of get to a point kind of in that like middle hour. It's like, okay, Pangborn's character kind of just is almost like not present for a lot of large chunks of the whole thing. So it's not as evenly interspersed with the stories. It kind of focuses on this set of characters, and this guy eventually comes back in, and kind of weaves back out of the story. So it's not quite as balanced of a story. Because I kind of remember when I first watched the Blu-ray before the old Blu-ray, watching the whole thing for one time, it's like it feels too long of a film for what they're trying to cut it down into, but it's too short for what the story wants it to be.
Right. Which I feel like you could slap that on every single Stephen King adaptation. Mm-hmm. Every one of them. I think of all of the ones that we've covered, I think Cujo, Pet Sematary, Misery, I think those three are probably the most succinct.
Yeah. And other ones kind of go far off the source track.
Right.
I'd like to have that in your house.
Oh, I'd absolutely.
Right at the front door.
I'd put that. Yeah, I'd hang that up. You bet. Like, clearly that object exists because they have it here as a prop. I wonder what happened to that.
There we are.
This music is so good.
Yeah. Check the composer. I thought it was somebody.
It is somebody.
Recognized. Patrick Doyle sounds slightly familiar. Worked with Branagh, worked with De Palma, Harry Potter, Goblet of Fire.
Okay. Goblet of Fire, maybe my least favorite book, but a really good movie.
Worked with Robert Altman, Ang Lee, Alfonso Cuarón. So notable gentleman. And again, he also seems to get the tone right. He's playing a lot into what Von Sydow's doing with a little bit of a playfulness.
Right.
Different places here.
Like, everything that Gaunt's character is doing is a game.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not so much about the tragedy as it is having fun setting up the tragedy.
Yeah.
The I forgot, even though he's never met her.
Right.
Oh, coffee. Cheers. What does that say? Coffee King. I need a Coffee King. I will say, though, after it sits on that hot plate for too long, not good.
Now, apparently, one thing that's in the novel and in the TV cut, but not in the theatrical cut, is the stuff about his mother, the Elvis stuff.
Oh yeah.
They actually have that in the TV cut.
Well, I figured.
And I was kind of thinking, I don't think this is in the other version of the film. It's not.
I have never watched the TV cut.
Yeah.
This Kino Lorber release came out right around the time that we recorded our podcast, and so. Whoa. I didn't. I've never watched it.
Mm-hmm.
But I did assume that there were some of the subplots peppered into the longer cut. Because what are you filling 45 minutes with?
Right. I felt like, well, if that's something that's easy to count because it really doesn't interact with anything else in the story the way they have it in the film here. Because it's basically she has this bust of Elvis and she buys a pair of sunglasses they had and she's just laying in bed with it the entire time. Every time they cut to her, she's just in bed with the thing, smooching on it and just going at it.
Yeah. Wouldn't you?
And then she still in the theatrical, she pops up at the end with all the townsfolk and everything. So it's easy enough to breeze by and cut out a few minor references.
$20,000 in '93.
There's some cinema to you.
What's that?
Just the shafts of light and the smoke and everything.
Right. I like that he's just kind of omniscient and watching everything. That was a great scene, too, of the kid outside the window.
Yeah.
Love these low-angle shots.
Yeah, great. If you got it, use it.
There is a bit of convenience in cinematic convenience in that Gaunt is always just kind of around wherever they are.
Yeah.
It's like, well, who's running the store at this point then, you know? See, here's another example. Like, he walks up and sees the item in the window.
Yeah.
It wasn't manifested for him.
Right.
Unless it was, but we didn't see it, which is weird.
Yeah. It's like came to town ready with all this stuff to tempt them all from the outset.
What does that mean? I've never heard that expression. It is a really cool toy, though, right?
Sure.
I love that he does it. He touched, like... I feel like you'd get caught. I don't know how. but you can't go to the track and win every race.
Right. No.
You almost have to like do 4 races.
Right. Like if you go to the friggin' casino and you start winning every hand, they're gonna take you in the back and give you what for.
Right. Yum. Granny Smith is the only apple I like. I shouldn't say it's the only one I like. It's the only one that I will, like, purchase. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
He's always there.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the point, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing is that the film's not really making like an illusion that he's not the devil.
Right. Right.
You pretty much know it. It's pretty much set up to like knowing.
Right.
What the game is.
I don't think that the book is set up that way either. I think you know.
Probably, yeah.
Like it's.
I get the feeling that that's the way it went.
Yeah, I mean, he's presented as a supernatural evil. The word devil, I don't think is used.
I'm sure not. But it's implied as much.
Right. I think this guy is legit one of the best actors of his generation. Rankadoo! By George is a good name. I always
Weird how they come up with all these horse names.
I always love horse names. Horse names entertain me. I guess I like them because it's not, like a one-word name.
Yeah.
Like it's a phrase.
Sure.
Like, can you imagine naming your dog like a phrase? Go get 'em.
Okay.
Or whatever. I don't know. I guess that joke was played off 35 years ago when The Simpsons started, because The Simpsons got their greyhound dog from the dog race, and its name is Santa's Little Helper.
Great art direction with this whole thing.
Yeah, it really would have been fun to like dress this funeral home that's being portrayed as a small town antique store. Every time I read the book, like, I pictured something completely different than what they presented to me. And I'm still angry about it 30 years later. I just love that dog. You said you're afraid of dogs?
Oh, yeah. Just.
So you'd have no interest in, like, petting that Rottweiler?
No. I don't exist on the same wavelength at all. They always bark at me and I'm scared to death of them.
God, I can't imagine what that smells like. At least they've set up the whole idea that he's a baseball fan.
Sure, yeah.
I remember there being more story with him, too. Brian.
I don't think there's much more in the extended version of it.
He's got a good arm.
Yeah.
Good form. I bet he was really a baseball player.
Sure.
I mean, he's really good.
Yeah.
Some of these inside shots are a little dramatic, but
Yeah.
it's fine. And how did old boy down at the turkey corral not hear any of this?
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Because it does take a lot of time to throw 36 apples or whatever it was. So, is this the midpoint? I mean, like, the fact that he says, okay, I'm done. I set everything up, now let's watch it burn.
Yeah.
So you're saying the dog would bark like that at you and you would just run and...
I'd be terrified.
But look, he's so cute.
One of our grandmas, she had this big black dog, not quite too dissimilar from this thing, and every time we went to the house...
I wonder if it was a Labrador.
Something like that, but it was one of those houses where you walk in, you have the downstairs thing, then you go upstairs, the dog's always right at the top.
Split level, yeah.
Is always right at the top of the thing, just guarding it like hell, barking up a storm. Then pretty much all the neighbors I had on either side of the house, they had dogs, and they was always barking. Went around with a friend of mine, he was like doing Cub Scout things from door to door, and one of the dogs got loose and chased me partway down this freaking road.
This is, right here, one of my favorite parts of this whole movie. So, this one is embezzlement. There are some really great ones, including, I think, my favorite is Horsefucker. This would have been real fun to do. For being the biggest cocksucker in Castle Rock. Raise the Dead. Frank's the name. Those are all great dog names if you just put them from horse to dog. This is funny. Like, I wish we could pause it and read them all. Horse fucking!
There you go.
Cornholing your mother.
Jesus.
Oh, God damn it. She's having fun.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect apple pie. The look on his face is priceless. I like that he's just swiping at them. And he doesn't hear the door? And what, is this rated R? Do we know? I'm curious if...
Put the freaking thing. I don't know. Yes.
Okay.
It's very small in the packaging. Also considering the seduction scene later on that got cut out.
Oh,
TV,
yeah.
Got cut out by TBS.
So that scene is not in the TV cut?
No. Not the entirety of it. Most of it is, but not when they actually get into the more sexualized part of it.
Got it.
Despite the fact that they show the flash forward to it in it anyway, but TV standards are weird.
Yeah, TV's very weird.
No.
Holy God. They skinned that dog alive.
That got in the TV cut. We'll show you all the gore possible.
Right. You can't have sex and violence. Guns, you can't have guns. Drugs are bad. Isn't she fantastic?
Oh yeah, Amanda Plummer's fantastic. I mean, I think she won. I think it was the Saturn Award, or at least she was like nominated for it off of this film. Awards. She won for Best Supporting Actress at the Saturn Awards for this film.
Good.
And I got nominated for 2 other awards, whatever they were. So she's the daughter of Christopher Plummer.
Right. And also, Honey Bunny in the opening scene in Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
What a great character this is, old Wilma. Apparently she wears the same clothes every day. There's more destruction to this home. Like, this is a more accurate representation of destruction that was cut out of the Cujo that we talked about last.
Yeah.
Where the Kemp character, like, literally just destroys every room in that house, but they didn't really do that.
Yeah.
I love this scene. This is actually my favorite scene in the movie. I was kidding about the other thing because I think it's entertaining, but I think this is the best scene in the movie. I think this is extremely well choreographed. There's tension. It's like... He's just oblivious to everything.
Yeah, I know. He's...
the worst. He's the worst.
Yeah.
I love the use of Ave Maria in this movie. Not just here, but it's used multiple times.
It almost makes the film feel like a dark comedy to a degree. Not wholly, but still tinting like a dark farce to a degree. Like, this could be played in a completely different way, where it's all tension and horror and stuff like that, but it's playing it much more I don't know how else to say it, more humorous to a degree, more kind of dastardly.
Do you think you'd like it more if it was the other way?
I don't know. I mean, this suits the tone that everything's been going up through at this point in time, what Gaughan's doing.
Right.
He's the puppet master. He's kind of... He feels like he's almost off-screen twirling a mustache.
Right. Exactly.
And it feels like King's tone. His type of humor. His way of manipulating and twisting the characters around.
So good. I love the writing of the names and the little check marks. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't really like Bonnie Bedelia's character. Now, is there some sort of scene or scenes in the director's or the extended that explain why he goes from rage to paranoia again?
I don't think so.
Because the last time we saw him, he was tearing through his house, angry at Ridgwick. But then when he gets here, he's paranoid. You know what I mean?
Let me see if I can pull up the
it sounds weird.
site again.
Yeah, I don't really care for the little, lightning effect that they do.
Yeah, it's a little hokey. I think they could have done something a little bit more subtle.
You're right, this does get a little, heated.
Yeah, there's no extra scenes with Danforth in that regard.
Let me just unbutton your sweater for you. I don't know, I don't buy that. But I've also never been seduced by the devil, so...
Sure.
Who knows? I was a little pissed that... Well, pissed is not the right word. I find it odd that they didn't present the movie, in the movie, as Pangborn, working all the cases.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see the kind of... Like, you see him show up there,
Right.
but he hasn't really been informed or, quote-unquote, working on anything prior.
Yeah.
He just goes away, like your point.
Yeah, that does get exasperated, because watching that extended version, it felt like you really should have Pangborn be much more of an
Involved.
overarching, threading through element for everything in this whole thing, and it just need to maintain that there's a positive influence and a negative influence, and Pangborn is kind of that pillar of the community guy, trying to hold everything up to the standards and the morals of everyone that they should be, and Gaunt's the one dragging it all down, and there's not as much of a balance in the extended cut, the whole thing.
Right. They make it sound like there's just races in every small town. I think the pacing is off.
Yeah, I feel like the things should be picking it more in the second half than it was in the first half. And it doesn't feel like, okay, we're kind of on the, technically kind of like on the downslope of Gaunt's intentions, but there's not really anything else kind of congregating in the story. It's like Pangborn hasn't caught on to anything. Everyone else is just kind of oblivious to everything else that's going on around them. It feels like there should be a stronger emphasis on things going really rotten around here, and it hasn't really gotten that far along. Aside from Nettie and Wilma, everything else is just kind of little pranks here and there that really don't shade everything as grimly as possible.
Right. So, one of the other things that I think kind of works against this movie is there's so many people involved.
Yeah.
That clearly somebody could have just easily said to Sheriff, like, hey, this is my story.
Right.
And then if a second person says that, you can clearly put together that there's a puppet master.
Right.
So all you had to do was say, Brian, all you had to do was say, yes, I threw the apples. And the whole thing unravels.
Right.
Like,
and I get Brian having a real heavy sense of guilt over this whole thing and being ashamed for the whole thing.
Right.
But it also kind of... It's a weird thing. It's like everyone's so easily complicit.
Right. Everyone just says yes.
Yeah.
Which is the devil's work.
Right.
But...
It just doesn't feel like anyone's... There's really kind of cast a spell over people. It just feels like we're bartering between two different things, and you're doing all this other stuff for me for reasons unknown. It just doesn't come into question. It feels like there needs to be more, I don't know, lack of a better word, a seduction to a degree. Or some kind of like, almost like a blackmail type of thing all over you. Like, unless you do this, someone's going to find out about this dark secret you have in your past or something.
Right. It has your name on it, dumbass.
Yeah.
What kind of cop are you?
Well, you can't see because it's on the other side. I'd like to have that little map or something.
I would absolutely put that map up in my house.
It's a matter of whether or not how much work they put into it. Do you just grab a random map and slap Castle Rock on
I
it?
bet
Or
they
did
did.
They actually did some work on it.
I bet it's a random.
Today they'd probably put more work into it. Someone put a bunch of Easter eggs in there and such.
I have seen there are maps that exist of quote Stephen King's Maine.
Okay, yeah.
And it has the map of Maine with all of his towns on it.
Right.
I would frame that somewhere. I don't know if you can buy it though, like in a print.
It's interesting. Shortly before, when we were in the station, you can actually see his mother in the background, out of focus.
Oh, really?
But I imagine that there was some extra. I think there was maybe some extra stuff around. I know there's probably something in here, because in the TV cut he does mention that she's just fawning over her Elvis stuff the entire time. But I think they cut that dialogue from here.
Well, right, because you don't.
Right, what you're referencing, saying we haven't seen.
Right. Well, that's a good line. Mm-hmm. We talked about this in our Cujo.
Yeah.
That, you know, in a movie, you don't want to kill the kid because that's just not how things go.
Too much of a tragic downer.
Right. Which goes to mention that in the book, Brian Rust kills himself.
Yeah, he does die.
He commits suicide. So...
obviously they shoot it this way, but it was just the fact when they have the follow-up scene after this, it was just kind of almost like a let's shoot it both ways type of thing, like a last minute, like let's just throw this in here because we're feeling a little sketchy about committing to this idea.
And I actually think that it works to not have him die.
Okay.
I don't think you need it. All he has to do is convey this message.
Yeah.
And if that stops the chain of bad events happening.
Yeah.
So it's actually almost better that he lives, because if he lives, then he can tell the sheriff what's happening, and the sheriff can then go put it into action or whatever. Very deliberate.
Yeah.
It's a great song. I don't remember what it's called, but it's a great song. I think the Hugh story here is one that was very underdeveloped.
Yeah, a little bit. There's a little too much of a thing unto itself. It doesn't really kind of impact anyone else around him.
Right. Did you see there, J.T. Walsh had a $2 bill on the bar as a tip or something?
They're still around. They're still legal tender. You don't see them much.
I got a whole envelope full of them.
I think they're actually more around just because of like gambling in that regard. I think I think that was the case. Like casinos and such.
Yeah, going back to my earlier point here, I don't think that these two have any chemistry whatsoever. They feel like two people that know each other.
Okay.
But they don't feel like a husband and wife. $11? He looks a lot older than 11. Like, they don't even live together.
Well, they just got engaged at the beginning of the film. But, I mean, I like them both as actors. I like the performances, but I do kind of get what you're coming at with the whole thing. That just feels like there's too much of a divide between them.
Right, right.
I mean, when they have a couple of scenes early on when they are playing a little bit more intimate and having more of a warmth between their works, but afterwards, there's not as you need a little bit more of that kind of coming and going between the relationship.
Right. It would almost have been better if they became engaged at the end as a result of what they went through together or something.
Maybe, yeah.
But
maybe there's a him and haw about committing in some way.
But I just don't feel like, she's just always walking around in pain and aloof.
Right.
And he's distracted by other things. It's almost
Yeah.
like, why even bother having them as a couple?
Yeah.
If they're not going to, help each other in any coupley way.
Right, if there's just too much. There's just too much time with too many scenes where they're just not together and there's not really anything going on between the two of them.
Looks like one of those body snatcher pods.
A little bit, yeah.
And see, it's combative between them.
Right. I mean, I'm a little foggy on why there's so much stuff from early on, even from their combativeness over her arthritis and everything like that, her taking the medication.
Right.
Why is there a thing about that?
Exactly.
Why isn't that just a regularly accepted thing?
Exactly.
Like, he doesn't want her taking the pills anymore and just wear the braces. Was like, okay, why? If she's in pain from it, then there should be a desire to do something about it.
That's the other thing. That you kind of forget that the whole story's taking place in 2 days.
It doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't at all.
It feels like a week's gone by.
Right. And I feel like just some little communication would have been solving all these problems. To your point, everyone was just so eager to do it.
Yeah.
But
feels like there should be something like when he's presenting the whole thing. We show the flashes and everything like that, but it feels just kind of like it just feels like a quick remembrance of why these things mean something to him. It feels like there should be more of an enchantment over things.
Right. Which would have happened had they shown him turning junk into what they want.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when I read the book, I remember feeling like it was a small shop full of really kind of pointless objects.
Yeah.
But he had the ability to take a mundane thing and bewitch it almost. Like put a charm on it, a spell on it. Which,
more witchcraft in that regard.
Right.
Yeah. And so this, again, hokey, electro-static thing going on.
Which would then, like, even that little subtle difference would help explain why people were so mesmerized and enchanted to go complete the task.
Right.
Because the same spell that's on the object is on them.
Yeah.
But that's not how it's presented.
Right. Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. It just feels like everyone's just complicit to do it because you just asked them to do it as a payback for the charms. Like,
now, yes, it is presented as a like quid pro quo kind of like thing, but
when you you're not even playing on anyone's sort of animosity to someone else. You're having them set up someone else who has animosity for this person, but you're not the person that has any beef with someone else.
Right, nobody's beefing.
Right. It just...
At least not with the person you're pranking.
Right.
The beef isn't the prank.
At least with her, this is a really good way of doing it.
This
like,
is
Vaughn's really not... Go ahead.
This is the only one that doesn't involve a third party.
Right.
So actually, I don't like that.
It doesn't follow the theme, is what you're getting.
Right.
But towards what we're talking about, it feels more proper that he's actually doing something to kind of lure someone in under his influence.
Right. Now we need this dynamic transposed onto the other pranking and beefing.
Right. This feels like making a deal with the devil and him, again, bewitching you with something like that to do something against your will. It's kind of like, I'm going to give you this. This is going to help you. It's going to make you better. But then he's going to whisper in your ear, it's like, oh, that sheriff, he's double dealing with someone else. He's a crook. You don't want to trust him.
Right.
We should be turning and twisting people's fears and animosities and aggressions and stuff like that against them. And it's not really quite capturing the idea that you could really get at.
Look at her with her titties hanging out on TV.
Uh-huh.
Is this one of the scenes that was cut then?
Not quite here. It's when they get in the bed and he starts...
Because you can literally see her nipples.
Yeah, you can.
Not that should be
probably more so because it's open mat on the TV version.
Oh, there you go. It's kind of a creepy little set. I like the lighting.
Oh, yeah.
Freddy's home.
It's the same cinematographer as Rocky IV.
Really? Really?
Yep.
That's interesting. Oh yeah, he really gets handsy with her hair.
Yeah. Yeah, this is not... The rest of this is not in the TV version. Yeah. I think it cuts out right about here on the TV cut.
the teeth.
Yeah.
So I had a problem with this.
Sure.
They make it look as if Gaunt is behind every
major atrocity of the 20th century.
right, like you name it, and he was there.
Yeah. It's like, how's he responsible for the Kennedy assassination?
And the atom bomb.
Right. It's a little...
And World War I, apparently.
It's kind of... I get what they're trying to get, that they're trying to make it seem like he's been around forever and ever. But they're highlighting it in kind of the wrong way, and it's a weird way to try and go about it, because anyone could be a collector of archival newspapers and stuff like that.
Kind of. Like, I have things.
Right. It'd better if you found the frickin' dynamite. That'd be more of a thing.
Right.
The more of an undercurrent to say, hey, this guy's frickin' dangerous. I mean, the newspaper thing's tenuous.
At best.
I get what they're going at, but...
Right, it's just poor execution.
It's just not... You're leaping far to a conclusion that I don't feel is very good. Well, I guess they don't have more of the handsiness and the... I thought because it was in the flash forward, we were going to see more of that in the bedroom itself. I guess not. So I guess there was nothing they had to cut out for the TV version. Just kind of...
I'm surprised they didn't cut out her nipples.
It's blurred out or something.
Could be.
Oh.
All shit's going down in town, and Ridgwick's sleeping on the job.
The way you get across is that, okay, you find the newspapers and you find a photograph of Leland looking the same way he does 80 years ago.
Right.
That's how you get the point across.
To your point, yes. You show his picture, although that would imply that he was caught, or like
maybe not like a feature thing. Maybe like he's in the background of a photograph on the front page or something like that. That just
right, because he does like to show up and twirl his mustache, as you said.
Yeah.
Right. Why would he just leave it
out in the open? Yeah. And he's like,
right. What are you drunk, sir? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He fucked up that car.
Broken fingers
with his broken roll from the mousetrap. Got it. Oh, fuck. He just did like a Mick Foley on the concrete there.
Ouch.
People don't call people a prick anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I really need prick to make a comeback. This big boss man here, handcuffing people to things.
Right.
He's probably concussed from that concrete shot he took to the back of the head. What are you gonna do? I'm curious the parts that you thought that he was too over the top.
It just feels a little comedic to me.
Well, he's drunk.
Yeah.
I think he's brilliant.
I don't know, it just feels like they feature him so much because they feel like he's entertaining. I just don't get an entertainment value out of what he's doing. It just feels... It's just the fact that everyone... His acting performance isn't like anyone else in the film, so it's very much something that's off the tempo of everyone else's work.
Well, that's everyone else's fault. That they couldn't match his energy. That's a nice touch.
Uh-huh.
Even though he only gave it to her 48 hours ago.
Yeah.
What? Like... It's kind of clever that he would drive with his hand cuffed. What an asshole. And her name's Myrtle. He's so good. I love him so much. Like, you just hate him.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like...
We really do kind of want to see her kill him at this point in time.
Yeah, it would be great if she was... But that's clearly not who her character is.
Right.
What kind of car is this? Did we get a look at it?
I don't think so.
It's not a red Plymouth, right? Like a Christine?
I have no idea. I don't think we ever see anything to that degree.
Oh, shit. Oh. Whoa, hair and blood. Oh, my God. So good. Look at that makeup. Like, clearly he's mentally ill. There's a little bit more involved with this one too, where you can you can see that his influence over the
yeah.
But like you don't really get that with Hugh the bum,
right?
Or
the priest,
the priest and the reverend, right? Maybe he's not a bum, but kind of feels like a bum.
Might as well be.
Was he burying his wife?
No, he's burying the dynamite.
Oh, I see. Well, he shot the rockola. I really need to get a rockola for all my 45s. One, two, three, go. I wonder how much it would cost to get a jukebox. This is one of the first times that he's Gaunt has been
forceful.
Right, and also, like, he literally picked the man up.
Yeah.
So it kind of shows his extra beyond human abilities.
And he's putting in the little Needful Things bags, I think.
Yeah, he is. They look like...
it's a nice little touch.
They look like Marshall Fields bags for those of us from Chicago.
Sure. He's got the teeth and the claws going in this scene.
Good Christ. Look at that carnage. Great makeup. Great design, set design. Yeah, I really don't. This priest story has just been glazed over.
Yeah, it's a little elongated because it hasn't really come up to like a point of anything. They haven't even really been pitted against each other quite yet.
No,
it's been present, but it hasn't. There's been no strings pulled,
and there really was no elaborate explanation as to why they don't like each other.
Right, it's just
other
difference
than
of ideals.
Right.
I feel like there probably should be at least a little bit more of a personal animosity, attitudes or something else like that between them.
He seems... So, Alan is either one of two things. Either slow on the uptake and not able to put it together, or he's just a bad cop. And because it feels like he's always behind. But it's not presented as if, like, he's one step behind and always, like, going to the scene just as the next step is happening. You know what I mean? Like... It'd be if he was in tandem, but yet behind.
It feels like he is kind of trailing behind the plot.
Right.
He's not up on the speed of the plot.
But they've given him this, like, he's figured it out, but he's not doing anything about it.
Right.
Not that he knows what to do, but...
Right, there's...
Like, he's too busy trying to tell everybody...
Yeah.
As opposed to, like, going to find Gaunt.
Right.
Like, stop talking and just go get him.
Yeah.
I wonder if that would play now, blowing up a church. I feel like it might not.
Yeah.
And as ridiculous as that sounds, I feel like that's a good metaphor for religion.
Sure. Just blind animosity.
Right. And politics, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's, oh, you have that label, you're all that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rose! I love that he's kind of an Irish.
Yeah.
And where did that come from? Lightning?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Hell of a blow up, though.
Yeah. You almost feel like the stuff's going to come down and hit him like it's the Omen or something.
Right. Right like that.
Yeah.
That is a really good death in The Omen.
Yeah.
If anyone is new to the channel, we did cover The Omen several years ago.
Yeah.
It's in the archives now.
And now they have a prequel coming up. The first Omen.
Of course they do.
Who was asking for this?
Well, nobody asked for Wonka either. Or Pet Sematary, or Cujo, or The Exorcist, or any other Texas Chainsaw, any other prequel that they've ever made, nobody asked for.
No.
I get that it's probably hard. Like, I don't even remember that as a storyline. You know what I mean?
I don't even know it's in this cut. I know it's in the TV cut.
I don't think it is in this cut. We didn't
I don't think it was there at all, no.
So, there's no reference at all to that Robert Louis Stevenson.
I don't think they came across in this version at all.
And I remember that from the book. It's in the book.
Yeah. Which again reinforces my thing earlier, saying like it's too long for the film they're trying to cut it down to, but it's too short for what it needs to be, because you still have all the stuff, especially in the climax here. We reveal like there's like another half dozen people who went around doing things that we have absolutely no interactions with before this point. It's like okay, it's supposed to be a bigger story than what it is, but you're trying to narrow it down, but it's not narrowed down enough to make it streamlined enough.
Right. Like, so how do you show the scope of the problem without showing
another 12 characters interacting and things going backwards from them, and everyone's just looting the town like it's the LA riots.
Right. Like you have to show a microcosm of the problem.
Right. And it's just doesn't feel like it's gotten to this point. It doesn't seem like it
Oh, is that the mother?
Yeah, yeah.
In her Elvis glasses.
Yeah. But yeah, it just doesn't feel like... How did it turn into this all of a sudden? We haven't gotten enough stuff that's been like that violent with that many people, that many things going wrong.
Well, I think that's the point. Is
right.
look at how chaotic the town has become.
Yeah, it just feels like it kind of comes a little bit out of nowhere, just because I don't know. We get revealed that the other church the Baptist church got bombed. It just still feels like we're kind of seeing half of the story, is what I'm getting at.
Right. You're right, the LA riots are a good comp.
Yeah, well, they're probably happening about the time they're shooting this. Not too long beforehand.
Right. Yeah, I don't really care for their...
I mean, I like the performances. It's just like they haven't written it strong enough. It just feels like it's a comedy between the two guys.
And Willie Rose hasn't had any screen time. They're on the left.
No, he's had half the time as the father.
The Irishman.
Yeah.
How was he able to hear him?
Yeah, he's pretty much kind of across the street.
And here's kind of where we were saying that there's this pacing problem. That
it all does kind of explode, then it just wraps up 10 minutes later.
Right, exactly. Like, the explosion is supposed to indicate that it's been bubbling over all over town.
Yeah.
But then, if that's the case, his little monologue here is not going to stop it.
I mean, it's a great monologue. It's a great performance. It just feels like you haven't quite earned getting quite to this point. The same thing I was just saying. You need a little bit more escalation all over town with little things here and there to just show that's gotten to a powder keg.
I don't even know who Karen is. Yeah, Ed Harris really shines in this in this scene. He pretty much plays Ed Harris throughout the whole movie. And then here he shows off his chops.
Yeah.
I agree. It's a good monologue.
Yeah.
It works better on paper than it does on TV, though, for some reason. You know?
Again, I feel like, if you had a stronger pace, it felt like things were happening in much quicker succession.
Right.
Boiling up, and the momentum builds up and up, and you get to this point. It feels like a cathartic release of everything.
And here she is making a case that he drove a wedge between them.
Yeah.
But I never thought that they were together to begin with.
they already had their division from the start, it seemed, for
Right.
reasons that never were terribly clear.
Like, yeah, it's so crazy how it's just like over.
Yeah. It just feels like, again, there should have been something like this speech kind of breaks them out of whatever spell they're under or something. And it's
Right.
like it shakes the sense back into everyone.
That's a great line. This is a very Stephen King character right here,
Okay.
I think. There's a lot of cops in this town.
A lot more than there seemed to be.
Right, exactly. Ridgwick's sleeping at the desk.
Right.
Yet all of a sudden, here's 10 more deputies.
Yeah.
And I thought the whole... Again, I'm still confused on this sheriff thing, but... Gaunt is mesmerizing.
Oh, yeah.
Von Sydow is
Yeah,
mesmerizing
yeah.
as Gaunt. He's like perfect for this.
Yeah.
Buster. That timer's been at 0 the whole
Yeah.
time. Does that mean anything?
Seems weird.
I like that was his last line in the movie. Don't call me Buster.
Yeah.
Because it's a good running gag throughout the whole thing, right?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Look at this.
I was kindling.
That's really fun. I would have loved to have been on set that day. Look at this.
Oh, yeah.
They've shown it the same footage like 3 times now,
Yeah.
but that's all right. And so now everything is just done and happy and over? Everyone's friends again?
Kinda.
Well, I feel like I'm remembering that there was something slightly different about...
The ending in the book?
Well, not the end. That was different, but... like this part of it.
Okay.
I feel like there's something that was slightly different. It really does drive home his supernaturalness.
Yeah.
That is a good...
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
August 2053, Jakarta.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that A, I'm around, and B, I hope something happens. I really hope something happens that day. Just so it all comes home full circle. That's tremendous.
Yeah.
And here's where I was also really, really angry.
Okay.
So, in the book, Stephen King loves to write a little coda at the end.
Sure.
That, kind of a what's next situation. Yeah. And they have him, under a different name, opening up another small little shop in another small little town.
Uh-huh.
And I don't recall off the top of my head what it is.
Sure.
But I'm so mad that they didn't shoot it. Like, how hard would it have been? We talked about this in the podcast. How hard would it have been to just show us, use the same town, just pick a different storefront.
Sure, yeah, something.
Dress it up as something different.
Yeah.
And have a coming soon sign on it.
Right.
Like, you know, in...
The cycle starts again.
Right, in Poughkeepsie, New York, whatever.
Yeah, right, sure.
And then coming soon, the new store.
Sure.
Like, it would take 30 seconds. It might take a day to shoot.
Yeah.
But that 30 seconds would just... It would bookend it so perfectly.
Yeah, I get
and
it.
just show that cycle continuing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. If that was there, it would have been a higher score.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know. Hey, I think it's fine for what it is.
Yeah, I think it is kind of ripe for someone to take another crack at it as like a
yeah. Or a
6-episode miniseries.
I was going to say an 8 or a 10, yeah. Like an HBO situation.
Yeah.
That would be really good.
Yeah.
I don't know who they would cast now.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
I'd have to think about it.
Yeah.
In the book, there's also a bunch of cross-references to other Castle Rock stories.
Okay.
You know, they reference all of the incidents in Cujo happening there. I think what's her name? Amanda Plummer's character.
Okay, Nettie.
Had been in an asylum or something.
Okay.
And it was the same one that Henry Bowers from It was in. And they do all these little town and place crossovers.
Tip of the hat thing.
Yeah. And I just love that his universe is all canon.
Yeah.
You know? Damn, that's so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Ave Maria, there it is. A lot of good songs. It wasn't God who made Honky Tonk Angels. That's the one that I was. That's the one that it was on the jukebox when it skipped.
Huh.
That is such a great song. Everyone look that one up. It's old, but damn, it's good.
Gibson's Landing, British Columbia.
Yeah, I wonder where that's at. I've got a friend that lives in BC.
Okay.
But BC is huge.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so I don't know where that's at. I'm going to look it up and see if it's anywhere near my friend. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's fine.
It's a decent flick. There's way worse.
I would, yes. Way worse.
King Pantheon.
I do encourage everyone to read this one because it's super fun. Or sign up for Audible, and
Sure.
It's 25 hours, and you're going to have a great time.
Yeah, you can probably find it on Apple Books and various other places. I think you usually buy these things on Amazon straight out.
Right, just buy a CD version or something.
Something. But anyway, guys, thanks for joining us, and
See you next
thanks
time.
much.